What is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we're going to be looking at the NOBULL Canvas Trainer. So 3 pros that I have with this model is that overall I really like the simplistic design and construction of this model. We have a singular piece of canvas for the upper and the sole is very consistent. So NOBULL markets this as like a less is more simplistic stripped down shoe, and personally I really like that because I don't think it takes away from this model's overall performance, especially if you reuse them in the right context. The second pro that I have with this model is that, truthfully, I actually like wearing this shoe more on a daily basis than I do to the gym. Now, don't get me wrong, they do work for cross training, they do work for lifting, but what I like is that you can rock these with jeans, khakis, shorts, and with gym clothes, and they look pretty dang good and just clean. So if you are on the market for a shoe that you can wear to the gym, but also maybe to the office or just out and about on your daily basis, that looks pretty good with pants and shorts, this is a good model to look into. The third pro that I have with this model is that the canvas upper and the sole are pretty dang durable. So overall, the shoe is pretty easy to clean. So if you're like myself and you're wearing them on a daily basis, the shoe is very easy to spot clean and wipe down. So you're not going to get a ton of grime on the shoe if you're wearing them out and about. And overall, when it comes to working out, I do think the upper and the sole are pretty dang good at abrasion resistance. Also, as an added pro, I do like that NOBULL actually made the branding a bit smaller back here. On my traditional NOBULL trainers, I always wish the branding was a little bit smaller, so it's really cool to see them use actually less branding on this model. And I think that also feeds into why I like them on a daily basis, because I don't really like heavily branded shoes that I'm wearing out and about. But overall, those are my 3 pros with this model. I like it for casual training and for lifting. It's not my favorite cross trainer, but we're gonna discuss that more in my cons. So 2 potential cons I could see folks having with this model is, number 1, I do think the name is a tiny bit misleading. So if you've ever worn a NOBULL trainer before, then you already know that the sole and midsole of this shoe are not the most responsive and forgiving. In this model, it's even more stable, and I would actually liken the sole and the overall construction of the sole similarly to a Vans shoe. So we have that thicker, non-compressive rubber. That's what you're gonna get in the Canvas Trainer. Now you can wear them for cross-training workouts and for lifting, and there's not really a huge issue in doing so. However, what I will say is that if you are expecting to get a nice responsive shoe that's a bit more forgiving for plyos, athletic focus workouts, I don't think you're going to like the shoe. It feels a bit clunky, and overall the sole feels really heavy. It's almost like a Vans model. The second con that I could see folks having with the shoe is that the overall volume of the toe box is not very big. So this shoe actually fits really tight on me, and I would actually say go up a half size if you're looking into this model, because with the overall toe box construction in the shoe and with how thick and kind of sturdy this canvas is, you're not going to get a lot of break-in. So it's not going to really stretch over time, I don't think, to a large degree. So save yourself the trouble, go up a half size, or just try to wear thinner socks if you're going to go true to size, because the overall volume in this shoe is fairly tight. And that's especially true if you feel like taking out the insole and putting in your own. But now let's talk about performance in the Canvas Trainer. When chatting on performance in the NOBULL Canvas Trainer, I'm going to break this into 3 different sections. We'll talk about lifting, more versatile training, and then daily wear / shorter runs. When it comes to lifting, I think this is where this model is going to excel the most. With the overall sole construction, you're getting a lot of stability. Now, granted, the stack height isn't exactly that great if you're really trying to minimize your stack height for your lifting purposes, but across the board, I don't think you're gonna have any issues with stability. Plus, with the overall sole construction being so consistent and with these lugs, you get a lot of traction on a variety of surfaces. So if you're lifting outside or indoors, the shoe should provide you with adequate grip across the board. Plus, with the overall canvas upper, I do think that this shoe is going to last a while, especially if you take good care of them in the gym, because of the upper being so abrasion resistant. When it comes to more versatile training, I alluded to this earlier, but this is actually not my favorite model. The overall sole construction, sure, you can use it for cross training, but it's definitely not the most forgiving, especially if you're doing more athletic focus training or plyometrics. I think you might feel a little bit beat up in this model. I was reading some of the reviews on the site, and people were like, oh, I use these for my 10Ks and shorter runs and some of my plyo workouts. And I'm just like, how do you enjoy this? This is not fun to do versatile training in. But overall, I guess you can use them for versatile training, but they're definitely not going to be my favorite. Truthfully, they feel somewhat similar to a Vans, but with a slightly more responsive toe box that feeds a bit better into being more on your toes and doing slightly more explosive ballistic movements. When it comes to shorter runs and daily wear, truthfully, I did not run in these. I know out of the gate like how these are gonna feel for running. They're not gonna feel that great. If you want to tackle some shorter runs in them, I guess you could, but truthfully, I would just ask like why if you have an option of using a more comfortable, more responsive ride. So overall, I did not run in these. I just do not think they're going to be that comfortable. And for daily wear, I really like this shoe. They're so easy to clean. They are really durable across the board, and they look good with pretty much all of my outfits. So when it comes to me being a simple man, I don't really know how to dress myself, especially when it comes to looking okay on a daily basis. So these kind of make it easy because they are very minimalist, they're very simple, and I feel like that matches my style. So overall, for lifting, I think this shoe is a hit. For versatile training, this model will work. It's not going to be the most responsive and forgiving for longer sessions. And then for shorter runs, I would say pass on this model. And for daily wear, these are awesome. So let's answer the question, is the Canvas Trainer worth it? I think if you are somebody who wants this shoe for more casual training and you go into this model understanding that it is not going to be your best hardcore CrossFit and cross training shoe, and you also want to wear it on a daily basis, then I do think this shoe is worth it. I would just say tread lightly. If you're buying this model thinking it's going to be like super responsive or great for shorter runs, etc., that is not going to be the shoe, and you may want to look into other trainers. So when it comes to sizing and fit in the NOBULL Canvas Trainer, I already talked briefly about sizing in the con section, but the overall volume of this shoe's midfoot and toe box is pretty limiting. So that being said, I would suggest going up a half size to a full size. If you're normally on the smaller end for your true to size shoe, you could probably get away with a half size, but if you are somebody who's often finding that your toes are a little bit cramped in your normal true to size models, go up a full size and save yourself the trouble. This also might be just a shoe that you accept that, hey, I might need to wear thinner socks with. So that is something to think about with this shoe. But overall, half size to a full size up would be a safe call in this model. So when it comes to price for the NOBULL Canvas Trainer, you can expect to pay $109 USD. Now, the price is a little bit hit or miss for me because if you're not necessarily sold on NOBULL and you don't necessarily want this shoe for casual cross training too, then I would say just go for a Vans. It's gonna have canvas as well. It's gonna cost you half of the money. However, if you do like NOBULL and the company and what they stand for, and you want this shoe for some casual cross training and daily wear, then I could see the price being a bit more justified. Plus, they do look really clean, so that is a perk of them. But again, the price is a little bit hit or miss for me, especially for just how simplistic these are, especially when you compare them to things like Converse and Vans. Obviously very different shoes and companies, but that being said, if we remember the context in which we're buying, I think that could help you further justify if the price point is worth it for you. So when discussing the weight, insole, and heel to toe drop in this model, for my size 10 shoe here, we have a weight of 13.2 ounces. That's because this sole is pretty heavy and pretty thick. The heel to toe drop in this shoe is 4 millimeters, and then this model does come with a removable insole, so you can put in your own insoles once again. All right, so now let's go over the construction of the NOBULL Canvas Trainer. So throughout the entirety of the upper here, we have a canvas upper. As you can see, it's all a singular one piece. It's very simplistic in nature. And the only place where we have NOBULL branding is back here on the lateral posterior heel when it comes to like the upper having branding itself. We do have some NOBULL branding here on the tongue, which is also a canvas material. And this tongue has 2 loops. And then looking at the midfoot of the shoe, we have 5 eyelets that run up. They are reinforced with metal eyelets, which is also awesome for durability. And overall, I like this midfoot construction because it is decently wide here. When you tighten this model up, it doesn't have any overlap. So personally, I really enjoy that about this shoe. We have a fully rubber sole throughout. So as you can see, that sole is pretty consistent. We do have some ridges here for rope climbs on the medial side. And then looking at the outsole here, we have a lug patterning throughout the entirety of the outsole, and it grips pretty well on a variety of surfaces. Back here, you can see it's pretty much low top in design, and this model does have a removable insole. However, what I would say is, once again, the overall volume of the shoe is not very high. So if you have thicker insoles, that would definitely be something to think about with this shoe. But that pretty much wraps up this shoe's construction. It is very simplistic in nature, and I think that actually helps feed into why I like this model. But if you have any questions on this shoe, drop them down below in the comments and I will answer whatever you have. All right, guys, that wraps up my review of the NOBULL Canvas Trainer. Overall, I like this shoe, but not for the exact reasons that it's marketed for. If you have any questions on this model, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.